Oh, damn it. Oh. Got him though. I had to just let it drop. Yeah, that's a big one, dude. Look out, George. That's a big old freaking donk. Oh, he come off! Oh, I think we're gonna have to get out the net if we're throwing this blade bait, dude. That was a donk, George. It's like bitterly cold, and I love throwing a trap this time of year. But another little sneaky thing, especially if you're fishing a little bit deeper, is this little blade deal. This is a Vibe Master, a Monster Bass Vibe Master, but just a thin little blade bait, dude. And it can get naughty, boy. Naughty. Got him. God, they kiss it, dude. Like it's such a light bite. Look out, Bo. Look out, Bo. Bo, I got a fish, man. You need to look out. You see how he's got it hooked too? He's like hooked outside the mouth. They don't want to eat, but it's almost like they react to it. Nice. That's gonna be a good one. Dude, he came up and smashed it. Oh yeah. That's another Fatso Fatserson. Bro, another nice 3.5 pounder. What we got here? Dude, that is the fattest freaking largemouth I have seen in a minute. Bro, that's like a 3 pounder in like a 1.5 pound, 2 pound body. Got to play around with blade baits today, and so did the bass. So if you like fishing a lipless like I do, that tight vibration, those flat sides, it's a perfect bait for this cold water. And actually what we're experiencing is fairly clear water time of year, this winter period. It's a reaction style, kind of power fishing style bait, but at the same time, it's extremely finesse. It's such a thin kind of presentation. It's such a unique presentation. But I wanted to run through a couple things like setup, because it's a little bit tweaked what you do. And also one of the biggest questions that I know I had when I started fishing blade baits, that I bet you have, where the hell are you supposed to actually tie it up? So we're going to go through all those things. First off, the setup you saw me using, this is a Halo XD3 7.3 medium, and you guys that watch the videos are going to know immediately, this is my trap rod. I treat this a lot like a trap. The only difference being is you have to keep in mind a blade bait is going to fish deeper. So a 1/2 ounce blade bait, the Monster Bass Vibe Master right there, that's a 1/2 ounce bait. That will fish from like 10 feet down to like 40 feet of water. They fish very deep unless you're absolutely burning them. And another thing that you'll notice too is the blade baits I all have almost my little like crankbait clip on them, and the Vibe Master comes with that. The Demiki Vault comes with that. But if your blade bait that you're using does not have a little kind of crankbait clip on it, you definitely want to tie a loop knot. You really want this to have free motion to vibrate. You don't want it kind of clamped down, because I'm going to show you there's a way to sort of limit the vibration on here, and it has much more to do with switching where you have it clipped on versus how you actually tie it on. I'm running 12-pound fluorocarbon just like I would for my trap. I really do like that lighter fluorocarbon because I think it allows the bait to vibrate more. If you're trying to keep it a little higher in the water column, you can go up to 15 or 17, but every time you jump a line size, I think you're sort of dulling that vibration. And maybe that's what you're going for, but I really want this thing to vibrate, and if I want it to vibrate less, I'll change my line tie. I run it on a faster reel. It's not super fast, but it's a 721. This is the new SLX, just the $100 one. I'll put links to all this stuff. I'll put links to the Vibe Master at Monster Bass, and then I'll put links to everything else at Tackle Warehouse. You want that softer tipped rod. It's a lot like spoon fishing. It's trap fishing, but it's spoon fishing. So you need that tip
to really absorb sort of your retrieve, so you're not overfishing the bait, as well as that strike, because a lot of times you actually don't even feel them hit it. It's you're lifting or you're reeling and your rod just loads up. There's no tick, there's no bump, there's no bang. It's all loading up. Those fish just sucking in. The two baits that we threw today are the Monster Bass Vibe Master and then the Damiki Vault. This is also an extreme classic. As you guys saw, I lost a great big 6-pounder, dude. And you know, part of it is because they don't get the bait very well because it is winter and they're kind of swiping at it. But that is why I like to use a slightly bigger hook. You got to find this nice balance between getting them hooked and then keeping them hooked, just like when you're spoon fishing. I keep it pretty simple. You'll see I got the Vibe Master right here. This is like a white ghost breakup kind of iridescent color, so it reflects really well once you get it down deep. I also do have, I think I have like a purple one and like a blueback one, and then on the Damiki Vault, it's what I would call just like almost like a chartreuse shad or a sexy shad. You know, there's a little chartreuse, there's a little blueback on there. A buddy of mine had a mold and he basically made custom ones, like homemade ones, and they were basically like silver and lead weight. They were pretty simple, and I don't think it needs to be super technical. It's not about realism, it's about reaction. You probably noticed in the video I was doing a lot of different stuff. So one way to fish it is just like a trap. You throw it out there, sink it down to whatever depth that you want, and really it's a slow roll. I like to keep my rod tips slightly up just because when they hit it, it really loads the rod up, so all you're doing is a short lift. You're not really setting the hook, so you don't need that much leverage. You just kind of pull back when you feel that tension, and if you're using the right rod, you're already set up because you have that nice soft tip. The retrieve that was really key today, it was definitely more of a spoon retrieve, and that's what I find works most often, is a sort of like a lifting and a dropping, a lifting and a dropping, and it's kind of a reaction style deal, and I think it has to do with bait dying. So like the shad or, you know, like the minnows and that, they kind of like rise and fall when it gets super cold like this. And in that fall, they see that prey and they're like, dude, that thing is super susceptible, I'm gonna eat that one, that's the weak guy. And so that rise and fall is really kind of my key reaction compared to just reeling it. The only key being is you really need to play with your weights. I like the 1/2 ounce because we're fishing pretty deep today, but a little bit lighter, maybe a 3/8 can also be key because of that slower fall. This is the thing that confused me the most when I started fishing blade baits. You can see on this Monster Bass, so there's a clip and then there's 3 little connection holes on the top. So which one do you actually use? That's a great question, Mike. I actually had to Google it the first time that I did it. So most of these baits come rigged in the middle. To be perfectly honest, the middle is going to be your best rigging for just about anything. General purpose, that will get you through anything. If you want to get specific with it, which, you know, these days with all the fishing pressure, being detail oriented is key, it's super easy. All you do is you unseat the clip, and then here are your choices. The back hole right here, the one closest to the rear of the bait, is intended for vertical jigging. So another way that you can fish this, just like a spoon, is if you have 2D sonar, or if you just know you're on a pot of fish right below you, is you kind of pitch it out maybe 2 or 3 feet in front of the boat, and you do just a jerking or a lifting retrieve. And basically this bait will vibrate up and fall down, vibrate up and fall down. A lot like you guys have seen me fish that ice minnow and some other like vertical spoons, little vertical jigging spoons. It's the same concept. You just get more vibration out of it. It has more of a pronounced kind of upward run. The front hole, this one closest to the eye right there, this is for casting retrieves, just like we're talking about, that cast and reel or cast and lift. However, what it's going to do is it's going to dull the vibration of the bait. You get more of a finesse kind of presentation. The bait won't vibrate as hard or as quickly when you go with that front hole. And it's super easy to switch. You know, you can do it just as you're fishing. You don't have to retie any knots. You just use that crankbait clip and you unclip it, and then you seat it wherever you want to be. For the most part, I really play with the middle one and the very first one closest to the eye, because most of the time I'm casting this. If I'm vertically jigging fish, I'm usually using that ice jig or maybe like a little jigging spoon or something along those lines. If you're you're 100% focused on the vertical jigging aspect, go for that rear hole. It's going to give you a more horizontal presentation to jerk up and down, just like that spoon. The colder it gets, the better this bite becomes. It's a reaction style bite. You're gonna have a lot of fish, especially if you have active target, follow it and not close the deal. But what's interesting is, compared to some of the finesse things that we talk about on this channel and other channels during winter, that reaction can be a game changer. You can have a group of fish right in front of you that will not respond to sort of like a mid-strolling rig, a Kitech, you know, some kind of like soft plastic swim bait, an A rig, something that you're fishing very slow, very finesse above them. But you put this thing down there, and that swooping sort of darting motion and that tight vibration, just like when you're trap fishing, like you can go over a flat, drag a worm, throw something, I don't know, a swimming worm or something like that, and not get bit, but go back there with that reaction style bait, and all of a sudden fish that weren't reacting, that weren't doing anything, are triggered by that presentation. And that's where that blade bait comes in. Cold, clear water, absolutely killer. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Give it a try. I know it's probably getting cold by you. I know it is by me. I'll put links to all this stuff, like the Vibe Master at Monster Bass and the Tamiki Vault at Tackle Warehouse, as well as my setup, so you guys can go check it out, maybe give it a try. But hit that like and subscribe button. We'll see you back out on the water. We're gonna go do a little fishing.